It's estimated that the world's population is set to grow from 7 billion to 9 billion by 2050. So wasting precious resources like food makes no sense, economically, environmentally or ethically. Well, in the European Union alone, the EC estimates that we waste 90 million tonnes of food every year. It's about 180 kilos per person. Much of this food would have been suitable for human consumption. But thankfully here in Europe, the question of food waste is being addressed. Fusions, a project working to reduce food waste through social innovation, has brought together 21 partners from 13 European countries in order to achieve a more resource-efficient Europe by significantly reducing food waste. Funded by the European Commission Framework Programme 7, Fusions will explore the potential for social innovation to reduce food waste. It sought ideas from its partner organisations, inviting them to take part in a small number of feasibility studies. Leading the project is the UK-based Waste and Resources Action Programme, or WRAP, a Fusions partner. From all of the ideas that were submitted, 7 feasibility studies were selected to test how social innovation can be used to reduce food waste. We'll look at each of these in detail a little later, but first let's hear from WRAP and Sophie Easteal. You're overseeing these projects. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, James.
First of all, what is social innovation and how is it going to hopefully reduce food waste?
Well, social innovation is a delivery mechanism. It's created and run by people, so it's inherently social in how it's delivered, but it also creates social benefits as its outcomes. Within Fusions, we've been tasked to specifically look at how social innovation can reduce food waste. And we recognise that it's just one of many delivery mechanisms that we're going to need. But because it's delivered and created by people, we think it's got huge potential to support the reduction of food waste by involving those who are directly affected by the problem.
So how did you actually pick these feasibility studies? What were the criteria?
We looked at those projects which would really characterise and demonstrate social innovation. So we wanted projects which would both reduce food waste measurably, but also have a social benefit. We also wanted to look for projects which really characterised what we thought was important in social innovation, specifically the way it can create new relationships between individuals or organisations which weren't there previously. And that really makes it something that can be sustained and very emergent. Finally, we wanted to look at projects which were close to market so that we could really test and evaluate their impacts and demonstrate something that could be replicated and scaled up in other parts of Europe.
So these are just feasibility studies. What are you hoping to actually learn from them?
So I think that social innovation has enormous potential to improve society's capacity to act. I think there's a widening gap between the scale of environmental and social problems that we face and the range of solutions that are on offer. To me, social innovation, because it's grounded in reflection, it's co-created and it's really emergent, I think it has such an amazing potential to support a more sustainable future. What we're hoping to achieve by these feasibility studies are demonstrating their potential, some of the specific actions that might be replicated in other parts of Europe, but also to try and understand the barriers to their development and delivery so that we can help to overcome these and hopefully catalyse new ideas as well.
Sounds very exciting. Well, looking at these 7 projects, they all seem very different. Apart from trying to reduce food waste, is there any other link between them?
Yes, they all also have social benefits from trying to reduce food poverty, reduce social isolation, or supporting children to have a better relationship with food and improve their health and nutrition.
Excellent. Thanks, Sophie, and stay with us. Now, given food starts in the field, let's start exploring these projects there too. Feedback is an organisation aiming to create national gleaning networks across Europe based on its pioneering activity in the UK. Well, by the miracle of television, let's go across to Nikki in East London. Hi Nikki, what exactly is gleaning and how did it get started?
Hi Sophie and James. Gleaning coordinates volunteers, food growers and food distribution charities to salvage fresh fruit and vegetables that would have otherwise been wasted from farms all over the UK and soon all over Europe, and give it to those who need it most. We started gleaning about 2 years ago in the UK with one hub based from our office in London, and we very quickly expanded the network to span over more than 5 hubs that organize gleaning locally with our help.
Okay, Nikki, thanks very much. Back to you, Sophie. That's not the only place where food is being wasted in the food chain.
That's right. There's also an opportunity to improve food use within supermarkets. And that's where we're seeing social supermarkets now appearing across Europe, which is something that Felicitas is looking at in Austria.
Okay, let's have a chat with Felicitas. Felicitas, tell us about your project.
Hi, Sophie and James. Welcome to Vienna. Our project is about to develop recommendations for the implementation of social supermarkets throughout Europe. A social supermarket is a non-profit organization which mainly offers surplus food to people in need at a low price level. So you have the advantage that you save food from being wasted on the one hand, and on the other hand, you have the benefit to support people, poor people, with covering their everyday needs.
Okay, Felicitas, thank you very much. Now, one challenge in extending food donation activities is coordinating and managing a centralised effort. Well, let's now cross to Denmark and hear from another Fusions partner. Danish partner surplusfood.net are testing the use of a decentralised web-based and SMS food donation service. Hello to Frans and Easteal.
Hi James, hi Sophie.
Can you tell us about the project that you guys are involved in?
It's about making the redistribution of surplus food much more efficient, to have the donors be able to send in a much more efficient way their surplus food to the needing in shelters, women's shelters, homeless shelters, and so on. You might say that we're bringing the internet revolution to the area of surplus food to make it possible not to make the surplus food end as food waste.
Thanks for that, Frans. We'll come back to you later.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Thanks very much. Well, Sophie, we've seen 3 projects now. They've all been reducing food waste and yet simultaneously reducing food poverty. They're all very different.
Yes, that's right. It's the differing approaches amongst the projects that makes them so interesting.
Indeed. Well, the Hungarian Food Bank Association is developing a flagship process for redistribution from the food service sector. Well, let's speak to Balázs in Hungary. Your project sounds very interesting.
Hi, James and Sophie. Our social innovation project will connect food service and hospitality companies like hotels, restaurants, catering companies or big kitchens who have regular surplus with charities who are in direct contact with people in need, and we would like to redistribute this surplus for those who really need it. The owner of the project is the Hungarian Food Bank Association. We are working since 2005 in Hungary. Until now we were working with food retailers and manufacturers, and now this is a new activity for us, working with meals, with catering companies.
Fantastic. Thanks, Balázs. So now we've heard from 4 of the Fusions projects. Well, let's revisit the teams and learn about their motivation, goals, and some of the barriers that they've been facing.
Millions of people live in food poverty around Europe, and yet we waste millions of tons of fresh fruit and vegetables around the continent for no good reason other than cosmetic imperfections or cancellations of last-minute orders.
I think it's really a paradox situation that we are throwing away millions of tons of food that is edible, and on the other hand millions of people are starving. So this is, I think, very important that we try to save as much as we can.
Gleaning Network addresses the previously neglected problem of farm-level food waste.
It's a pity every time resources in a world that has so many environmental problems, so many social problems, so many problems with economy and finance, every time that resources are wasted, it's a pity.
My personal motivation and my goal for this project is for Gleaning Network EU to change the European market for fresh fruit and vegetables so that this colossal waste doesn't exist anymore.
It's obvious there's a lot of surplus food every day from supermarkets all over the country, for example, and a lot of needing. And why not connect these two? It's already there, so what we're doing is making the connection. That's my motivation.
The greatest challenge is to identify the different models of social supermarkets already existing in Europe, and to identify their weaknesses and strengths.
The redistribution of meals is very complex and complicated. First of all, because of the timing. The logistics have to be arranged within hours, and that needs a very tough timing and infrastructure. And on the other hand, the food safety requirements are very strict.
We don't see a lot of barriers. We just need the challenge of doing the hard work, getting all the supermarkets enlisted, getting new donors registered, and so on.
Gleaning is a new concept. It needs to be tested, and in order to open the farm gates, you need to be able to show the farmer that you have experience and you do the job seamlessly. So that's what we're trying to address.
We are looking for existing practices, best practices within Europe. We know that there are some small examples where we can learn from, both in terms of logistics and in terms of food safety regulations.
So the goals of our study is to identify the best practice approaches all over Europe in order to give recommendations for a successful cooperation of different stakeholders.
The project is the messenger in itself, because it's all about creating a new internet platform, website, where everybody would be able to both donate and receive food.
We will support local gleaning groups every step of the way, and we will share our experiences of setting up gleaning network in the UK. Equally, they will be sharing their experiences of setting up their own networks, what challenges they face, and how they overcame them.
Well, making more connections between those with food surplus and those in food poverty is crucial in optimising food use. But just as important is developing new ways of working and new skills. Creative Schools in Greece is developing an innovative collaboration to help parents, children, educators and staff in the school canteen waste less food. Well, let's hear from Dora in Greece. Dora, can you hear me?
Hi studio, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go on.
Okay, our project is Creative Schools. The title is because a lot of activities will take place in kindergartens. These activities are mainly innovative games for children and educational seminars that will enable behavioral change towards food waste reduction amongst children with their parents and their teachers and kindergarten canteen cooks. Of course, our main goal is to reduce food waste in households with pre-age school children.
Okay, thanks, Dora. Sophie, back to you. We're starting to see from some of these projects just how important web technology is, but how important is it to actually initiate change in people?
It's really important. Like everything these days, the internet plays a crucial role and can be a really enabling tool for social innovation. But you need to use it in the right way and make sure that you take feedback from any web-based project and use that to change your behaviour. Take Order, Cook, Pay in Sweden. They're trialling a web-based system to use with catering managers to see how they can understand how many meals to prepare each day.
Okay, let's talk to Ulla Karin. Ulla, can you hear us?
Hey, hello. The project we are working with is the Order, Cook, Pay project, where we reach to have an answer for how many meals to prepare every day. And why is that useful? Yes, because today maybe in a school you have 900 pupils. Some of them are sick, not in the school, which you have actually information in school, but maybe not the information is have reached the school kitchen. And the second way we would like to is also to ask the question at the first lesson in school: how many of you shall eat today? because we will work with elderly pupils and they have money in the pocket, and maybe if there isn't a favorite dish served today, then they go somewhere else. But by asking this question in a proper and a nice way, we hope that we will encourage them to eat a nice nutritional lunch every day.
Okay, Ulla-Karin in Sweden, thanks very much. I'm really starting to understand why it's important to bring different people together to really tackle food waste.
Yes, and in order to sustain and build those relationships, it's important to make it fun too. In France, Disco Bocco is creating a viral format of events that brings people together to learn new skills and tackle social isolation.
Well, I think we can talk to Marine in France. Marine, can you hear me?
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go on.
So Disco Bocco are collaborative and festive events that bring people together to cook and then preserve discarded fruits and vegetables. We collect the fruits and vegetables from supermarkets, markets, or directly on the fields. And from these unsold fruits and vegetables, we cook delicious jams, chutneys, pickles, or vegetables puree. They are unsold fruits and vegetables because they often look a bit ugly, or sometimes they're a bit too ripe, but they're obviously always really good for the consumption. Disco Bocco was born inside the Disco Soup community. It's a wide community of individuals aiming at combating food waste by raising public awareness. In Disco Bocco, as well as in Disco Soup, we choose to raise public awareness with a non-moralizing and positive message, where people are invited to cook with music all together in a very convivial atmosphere.
Marine, that sounds fantastic and fun too. Thank you. Well, let's now go back to our partners again and find out about their personal motivation, the goals, and some of the challenges they're facing.
I think that what is really important for me is to connect citizens with local sources of food waste, so that citizens can get aware of the food waste that is really close from their home.
At first, I think food waste is one of the major issues nowadays. If we take into consideration that 1/3 of the food produced for human consumption is wasted, in relation with the fact that almost 1 billion people around the world go hungry, and that puts food waste one of the top priorities and measures in each country.
My personal motivation for this project is to take care and develop the engagement there is among all these school kitchen people working in the school kitchen, because they do have engagement for preparing a good food, and they also would like to reduce the waste which come from overproduction, and the overproduction is from lack of information and communication.
With Disco Bocco, we want to promote food crafts as a way to create social cohesion and conviviality and links between different communities and different generations.
But of course, when we introduce new technology, then we need to have encourage the people to use it and to use it together in which level, in which way shall we do it.
Some of the problems we seek to address is the lack of awareness about prevention measures in general, the lack of food planning in houses where families with children live, the inappropriate storage and packaging conditions, and the confusion about labeling of packages.
The project will be delivered by 5 to 10 pilot schools that will be working with us, where we introduce this order cook pay system, where you asked for how many should be eating today, and in the combination with a scale where you can actually measure how much waste you have in different parts of the production line, from the kitchen to the serving and from the plate.
There are convivial and festive events where everyone is invited to cook together and to prepare delicious jams or chutneys or pickles. And then the participants go back home with their own jars.
Guys, thanks for talking to us today, and thank you, Sophie, for coming in and joining me in person.
Thanks, James.
Well, it's really inspiring to hear that people from across Europe are working together to tackle food waste. And I hope it's given you a better understanding of the range of activities taking place. Why not find out if you can get involved in projects happening near you? Food waste is a huge problem, but it's also really empowering. We all waste food, so we can all take action to prevent it at home or at work. You can find out more on the Fusions website. Bye-bye.